didn't have the last name Sanders, he wouldn't even be in the league, in my opinion. His other son just got cut. They're both average. I watched simple plays, as you mentioned, layups. I've watched him miss those all day long, just with his feet and the ability to step into the pocket and not escape. Little things like that. I'm just like, dude, the guy's not very good. It is what it is. That's why they led the nation in sacks in Colorado.
Shedeur Sanders.
Yes.
I disagree slightly with JB because I don't think he sucks.
I'd say he's average.
I think he has a skill set if he does everything right to be a good.
Sometimes listening to Shaun King talk football feels like watching a motivational speaker who lost his slides mid-presentation but kept talking anyway. 1 minute he's hyping up his analysis, and the next he's declaring Dillon Gabriel is somehow ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Like, what alternate football universe did we just enter? Logic clearly packed its bags and dipped, because this take sounds like it was built in a lab powered by pure caffeine and confusion. Shaun King has officially cooked up another wild experiment in his sports chemistry lab, blending stats, shade, and selective memory like a mad scientist chasing clout. This time, he's pushing the idea that Dillon Gabriel, that Dillon, is ahead of Shedeur Sanders. Apparently, Shedeur's highlight reels from Colorado don't sparkle as much as Dillon's transfer tape from Oklahoma to Oregon. Forget arm strength, leadership, or composure under pressure. Shaun's analysis runs entirely on vibes, hater energy, and maybe a shot of espresso straight to the bloodstream. You could practically feel the internet glitch when he dropped that nonsense. Everyone was like, wait, did Shaun just say that out loud? It's like he woke up, stretched, and said, you know what the world needs today?
97. Do you think Shedeur is better than Gabriel, or does it not matter because our receivers can't catch and the scheme is bad? I think Shedeur is better than Dillon Gabriel. I think that he has more upside. I think he has more size. I think he has more arm ability. Dillon Gabriel, by no stretch of imagination, is garbage. I think he's going to play backup quarterback in this league for a long time. I think he is intelligent. I wouldn't go the supercomputer route, but
a bad opinion dressed like gospel. The man hates so consistently, it's like his version of morning cardio. Every single time Shedeur trends, Shaun's somewhere cracking his knuckles, ready to drop another rant about how Dillon Gabriel is the next Joe Montana. But let's break this down for real. When Shaun says ahead, what's he even talking about? Skill, stats, or just general adulting, like Dillon's got a Costco card and Shedeur doesn't? Because on the field, that claim makes zero sense. Comparing Dillon to Shedeur is like comparing drywall to a diamond. One cracks under pressure, the other shines because of it. Sure, they both play in the same college football universe, but only one actually glows when the lights hit.
Shedeur is he's emotionally immature and he doesn't realize it yet.
I don't know how he does it.
Because he operates in such a bubble, he's surrounded by so many apologists. He's always been in a position where his dad was the ultimate authority, so he's never had to be, I guess, I don't want to say humble because I don't think humble is the right word, but he's never had to be accountable for his behavior and his actions.
Because he never had to compete for the spot.
Shaun King really said Dillon Gabriel should start over Shedeur Sanders? Let that sit for a second. What game has he been watching? His brain must be doing full-blown gymnastics, flipping, twisting, and landing straight into a pool of pure nonsense. And the wildest part? Shaun says it with confidence, like he just cracked the Da Vinci Code of quarterback greatness. But all he's really doing is narrating his own fantasy league heartbreak. Because seriously, what alternate dimension has Dillon Gabriel looking ahead of Shedeur Sanders? The same one where pineapple on pizza counts as protein, apparently. Now let's break it down the right way. With logic, not vibes. Dillon Gabriel, solid quarterback, no hate there. He's accurate, experienced, and plays disciplined football. Respect. But ahead of Shedeur, that's when Shaun's analysis takes a hard left turn into creative fiction. Because Shedeur isn't just out there playing, he's elevating. He's leading a program that was written off, turning Colorado into a movement.
And this was a waste of time. And now my idea doesn't look so bad, does it? Think about if Shedeur Sanders was trotting out this week for his first start, and then they were going back to Dillon Gabriel. I'm just telling you, out of all the issues,
rest of us were with you, Shaun. Not just Jay was against it.
I don't know if you were with me, but You weren't against me as vehemently as Jay. And what is Jason? Is Jay suspended when I'm on now? Is he not allowed to come back?
Not just a football team. The man carries himself like a boss. He's running press conferences with CEO confidence and throwing passes like mediocrity offends him personally. Every snap feels intentional, every drive feels like a statement. Meanwhile, Shaun's over here acting like Dillon Gabriel's been chosen by destiny to lead football into its golden era. It's pure delusional uncle energy, the kind who swears his favorite player could have gone pro if politics didn't stop him. Except in this case, the politics are just reality smacking Shaun right in the face. Refusing to cooperate with Shaun's imagination seems to be Shedeur's biggest offense. Shaun would probably say Dillon Gabriel's handoff form looked better that week just to keep the hate flowing. It's honestly impressive, the man's consistency in being inconsistent. At this point, Shawn King could watch Shedeur launch a no-look 80-yard touchdown.
It's actually just going to further cook you. You don't know what the fuck you're talking
You
about.
could be a team. I thought you was a team on that shit.
We are a team.
We'll do it the right way.
But that's why we had the best show.
Put your hand out, Shaun. I don't like that. We black.
Shaun, the bottom line is he is a fucking, what position does he play?
Quarterback.
I don't understand Smitty's text. Smitty keeps talking as if this cat is a
It's
fucking...
a wide receiver.
He like, or D lineman or some shit that don't matter.
So
like,
quarterbacks can't have emotions.
yeah, no, it's different. You're
I know
the
you
leader.
ain't talking.
Smitty, you were looked at different. Leaders create leaders, homie.
Fucking-
We're not just out here fucking some guy.
And still mumble, yeah, but Dillon's mechanics are cleaner. Please, that's not analysis, that's an agenda. It's like watching someone stare at a Picasso masterpiece and complain it doesn't look like a stick figure drawing. But hey, this isn't new behavior. Shaun's been living rent-free in the mansion of bad takes for years. Balance? Never met her. He'll see one decent game from a quarterback and start building them a Hall of Fame shrine out of thin air. Meanwhile, Shedeur could be out there dodging blitzes like Neo in The Matrix, throwing darts mid-air, and Shaun would still pop up like, inconsistent footwork. The man could find fault in a miracle. And look, everyone's allowed an opinion, even the ones that make zero sense. But there's something almost poetic about the way Shaun wraps bias in a fancy disguise of expert analysis. He talks like he's breaking down film in a dark room, surrounded by whiteboards and stats, when really he's just reusing arguments he pulled from the land of misplaced confidence. He'll invent whole football systems just to make his takes sound less wild. But let's be real, Shedeur Sanders has completely transformed Colorado football. Before him, that program was collecting dust like an old VHS tape in your grandma's basement. Now, it's must-watch TV. The man turned the Buffaloes into a brand. Every game feels like an event, every throw a headline. And yet, somehow, Shaun's still out here saying Dillon Gabriel, the dude who's been in college longer than half the Marvel movies, has the edge. Ridiculous. Ahead in what exactly? Mileage? Because if this were a car comparison, Dillon Gabriel's odometer would be flashing maintenance required in bright red lights.
The thing about it is just basically proving that, right? So right now, you got to give Dillon an opportunity to prove what he can do. And when you go to Shedeur, you got to see what he gonna do. But I think he, of course, by evaluation standards, I do believe that he's a better quarterback.
The comedy writes itself. Shaun King talks about Dillon like he's the blueprint for quarterback perfection, while completely ignoring that Shedeur is out here facing elite defenses, high-pressure moments, and the nonstop chaos of a full-blown media circus sitting on his shoulders every weekend. Dillon's playing good football, sure, but Shedeur's playing meaningful football, and that's the difference Shaun refuses to see. Every time Shedeur gets some well-earned praise, Shaun magically finds a new quarterback to hype up. It's like he's allergic to giving credit where it's due, because if he ever actually sat down and compared game tape, he'd see Shedeur dropping NFL-level throws while Dillon's out there playing like he's still trying to remember what down it is. But nah.
Go back and revisit, not my opinion, but why I said that was the right thing organizationally to do. I listened to about the last hour of your show, and you guys very eloquently stated all of the issues the Browns had. This year was an opportunity to eliminate one of those concerns or make it the number one priority in the offseason. And that's, do we have a franchise quarterback in the building? That's why I said from week one, they should have alternated starts with Dylan and Shedeur. One, it alleviates a lot of the pressure to have to be great.
Shaun's got to keep that hot take machine humming. His obsession with Dillon Gabriel isn't even football commentary anymore. It's performance art. He's not trying to be right, he's just trying to be loud. And in today's social media circus, volume often beats logic. But when it comes to football IQ, Shedeur's brain runs on a totally different frequency. The kid reads defenses like a detective solving crimes in slow motion, while Dillon's over there checking down like he's scared of commitment. Shaun King's logic has officially entered the chat, experience over excellence, which might make sense if this were a retirement banquet, not an active football season. Dillon's experience is cool and all, but Shedeur's raw talent, vision, and composure, that's what separates future pros from guys just holding a roster spot. Yet Shaun treats seniority like it's the only stat that matters, like years played somehow equals greatness, please. Equal greatness, please. That's just Shaun King code for empty numbers dressed up in a tie. Dillon throws for 220 yards, solid but unspectacular, and Shaun's out here calling it an efficient performance. It's bias disguised in business casual. And don't even get me started on the leadership argument. Shedeur Sanders is literally the backbone of his squad, the face of the whole Colorado movement. His teammates would run through walls for that man. Meanwhile, Dillon's out here transferring schools like he's chasing a stronger Wi-Fi signal. But in Shaun's strange football universe, that's called adaptability. Sure, and I guess a raccoon digging through trash is just being resourceful. Shaun's double standards are wild enough to deserve their own documentary, and you just know he'd volunteer to narrate it. In his world, if Shedeur shows confidence, it's called arrogance.
Gabriel has this offense. He's in command of it. He's the one who they are trying to build this around, and Shedeur is going to continue to grow and develop in that role behind him. But you just talk to everybody around the organization. You see how he handles himself. You see how Coach Stefanski talks about Dillon Gabriel. You can tell they want to try and cultivate it, but you have to get the run game going. You have to make it easier on him. You have to stay ahead of the sticks, and today a lot of drop balls, in addition to some overthrows and behind throws, but he's the guy that they want to build around, I think, and that conversation is always going to be there because of who Shedeur is and what he did.
But when Dillon shows the same swagger, it's poise and leadership. The bias is so thick it could have its own stat sheet. The funniest part? Even when Shedeur wins, Shaun moves the goalpost like he's training for the Olympics. Yeah, he played great, Shaun will say, but look at Dillon's pocket awareness. Pocket awareness. Brother, Shedeur's been surviving behind an offensive line that leaks worse than a broken faucet, and he's still out there delivering dots under pressure. Meanwhile, Dillon's sitting behind a protection so solid he could host a dinner party in the pocket and somehow still manages to serve up an interception buffet. And let's be clear, it's not about hating Dillon Gabriel. The guy's talented, no question.
Time we talked, you said something about on the lines that using an offensive line or having a terrible offensive line is an excuse that shouldn't be used.
It's a crutch.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Even looking at what's going on right now with the Cleveland Browns and Dillon Gabriel getting lit up and Joe Flacco getting lit up, you still feel that way about this offense that you cannot just all put it on the offensive line.
Absolutely. And here's why. Name one quarterback in a game you watched this past weekend in the National Football League that wasn't under duress at least 35-40% of the time. Yeah. Just name one.
But every time Shedeur shines, Shaun disappears into his football lab, scribbling out new theories to keep Dillon in the imaginary lead. What's next? Dillon ties his cleats better? His high fives have more NFL readiness? Once you commit to that level of bias, there's no turning back. You just double down until it becomes full-blown comedy. At this point, you gotta wonder, does Shaun actually believe this stuff? Or is he just allergic to giving Deion Sanders' son any credit? Because no matter how bright Shedeur shines, Shaun's always out here squinting, finding shadows instead of light. At this point,
that's because this is a massive talking point, bruh. He completed 13 passes for 116 yards, and mind you, at one point in the third quarter, it was 55 yards. What do y'all want the people to say? We beat a really bad Dolphins team. It's not about what the Browns did and what the Browns executed, the Browns coaching did, what the Browns quarterback did. It's about none of that. It's simply about how bad the Miami Dolphins team was, and we capitalized beating a bad team with our great defense and our great running back. At the end of the day, we've seen enough. We've seen 3-4 games full of Dylan Gabriel, and we all can agree.
Hating has become Shaun King's brand. The man treats football analysis like it's a contact sport, throwing elbows made of bad takes and bias every chance he gets. But here's the real twist. Every time Shaun tries to push this Dylan over Shedeur storyline, it just makes Shedeur's success echo even louder, because the more people doubt him, the more he delivers. The kid doesn't just handle pressure, he feeds on it. It's like he collects hate comments and cashes them in for passing yards every weekend. Meanwhile, Dylan Gabriel's doing his thing. Quiet, efficient, respectable. Nothing wrong with that, but he's not living in that same blinding spotlight Shedeur is. Not everyone's built for prime time, and that's okay. The issue isn't Dylan, it's Shaun.
Me, when you hear these headlines about Shedeur Sanders coming in the coming weeks, ready? Shedeur had a great week of practice. Things are starting to click for him. The narrative is going to be twisted that the Browns are crafting a quarterback that is going to outperform what they've currently seen this year from Joe Flacco and Dylan Gabriel, which, by the way, this is my tweet. Dylan Gabriel, bottom 3 since the start of 2020 on Sunday in yards per attempt and sack rate for quarterbacks to drop back and throw it at least 50 times. Sack rate, that's what everyone...
The man doesn't just double down on bad takes, he builds a whole casino on them and hands out free chips to the internet to come watch him lose big. Shaun's the type who'll look at Shedeur's highlight reel, shrug, and say, yeah, but did you see Dylan's footwork in week 2? Like, bro, come on. The irony is, Shedeur doesn't even have to clap back. His gameplay does all the talking. Every completion, every comeback drive, every pinpoint throw, it's all a silent shut up to every analyst pretending not to see what's right in front of them. But Shaun, he's too busy crafting new talking points to even notice the scoreboard. Eventually, it just gets exhausting. Week after week, it's the same routine. Shaun finds a new reason to downplay Shedeur. Fans flood the comment section, and poor Dylan Gabriel gets dragged into a debate he never asked for. And when Shedeur finally steps into the NFL, silences every critic and turns doubt into dominance, maybe, just maybe.
Close though. Like, it got so bad, I had to go back to watch Oregon, right? Just to make sure I wasn't tripping. I watched Oregon and I watched Shedeur. Nobody can tell me that he's better than Shedeur. You can't tell me that.
No, not Shedeur's
You cannot
best.
tell me that.
Not Shedeur's best.
You can't tell me that.
No.
I watched enough tape and I watched enough football and I know enough to see. When I watch these two dudes, I'll probably watch over 20 games. Just to make sure I wasn't tripping. There's no way nobody that watched both of their films would say he's better than Shedeur. Can't do it.
But is it fair?
Dylan Gabriel will finally be free from being Shaun's favorite prop in a losing argument. Until then, Shawn King will keep doing what he does best, overanalyzing, underestimating, and seasoning every bad take with that special blend of misplaced confidence. Because for Shaun King, being right was never the mission, being heard was. That's his whole game plan. And honestly, that's what makes this whole thing kind of poetic. For every analyst like Shaun trying to twist the narrative, Shedeur just keeps showing up and shutting it all down with his play. Every throw, every win, every highlight turns those hot takes into cold leftovers sitting on the table of football history. At the end of the day, it's simple. Shedeur Sanders is the future. The energy, the precision, the leadership, it's all there. Dylan Gabriel, solid player, no doubt, but he's not out here redefining the game. That spotlight, that spark, that belongs to Shedeur. And Shaun King, he's just riding shotgun, shouting from the back seat, hoping someone mistakes the noise for insight, but everyone can see through it now. Because Shedeur's not chasing approval, he's building legacy. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share if you're ready for more real talk, and I'll see you on the next one.